Hi folks, my name is Diana de la Cruz Aparicio. I am coordinating the Thrive-Grad Portfolio experience with the AEC this semester. I just wanted to create a short video for you all to reference some resources and to get a better idea of what the hope is for the portfolio and give you some guides as well. So I'm going to go through this video pretty quickly, but please email me with any questions that you have. So what is the portfolio? What is an e-portfolio? The E stands for electronic. So an e-portfolio is a digital collection of evidence and artifacts that represent the knowledge and skills and accomplishments of an individual or group. These artifacts can include a variety of resources such as documents and files from successful projects, proof of competencies and skill advancement in the form of certificates and badges, and relevant experiences and achievements. Depending on the purpose of the e-portfolio, the creator often makes their own work widely available and then shares it with instructors, fellow students, or potential employers or clients. So this is what an e-portfolio can look like and what the hope is in terms of how they're being used. So what are some types of e-portfolio? So there are three kinds. So there is a showcase portfolio, which highlights achievements. There is a learning portfolio that demonstrates the learning process with a focus on feedback. So typically these are used in classroom settings, and an assessment portfolio used to assess students' competency on certain standards or topics. So that can be in a department within maybe a capstone project. But what we are going to focus on is the showcase portfolio. So why are we thinking about using portfolios at the AEC? So here are three reasons why we are moving towards trying to incorporate portfolios with our Thrive-Grad students. The hope is that students can communicate the following to a professional audience. And so this will hopefully highlight the skills, experiences, and learning that students are engaging with and have taken away from their undergrad experience, and potentially use that with sharing with future employers or potential grad programs. And so the hope is that students are reflecting and connecting all of those pieces to their skills. And so students will tie in their experiences, they'll create work for an audience and showcase their skills. How it can be used. So like I mentioned before, these e-portfolios can be used for job interviews. And so folks can always reference back this e-portfolio, continue to update it as they gain experience. They can put a link on it in a digital resume on their LinkedIn for employers to look at, and also for graduate school applications. And so sometimes students will use a e-portfolio to hold pieces like a personal statement, their volunteer experience, all their pieces, so that everything's housed in one area and can also be shared with graduate school applications. And so what are some platforms to use, and what are some platforms that we at the AEC are proposing for our students to use? And so there are two that we are looking at the moment. The first one is Wix. Wix is a platform where you create your own website, and I'll show you an example of what that looks like here shortly. It is a free platform. It can include visuals such as pictures, just like pulling pictures from social media account, pulling and incorporating a video from a YouTube account, incorporating documents like a PDF or Word doc. So upload documents such as resumes / projects. And you can share this link to your website with others. And then we're also looking at LinkedIn. With LinkedIn, if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, you create your own profile within the platform. It is a free platform. You organize your career, experience, your skills, accomplishments, projects, etc., into specific areas for employers to see. And you are connected with others on platforms. So this is more like it kind of looks like social media, like Facebook or Instagram, where you make connections with others. You'll find people who maybe you've worked with before. People can look at your profile, and you constantly update it as you're gaining more experience, your skills are growing, things like that. So we are giving students who are going through this portfolio pilot the option of choosing to use Wix or LinkedIn, and we'll show a couple of examples of what that can look like. So these are screenshots from two eportfolios from students in a different institution, and these are Wix platforms. And so these are just kind of very different visuals of what that looks like. And so you'll see that people incorporate either pictures, a welcome, a little bit about me, right, from folks. And so some of the tabs include an about me, so more in depth. This is kind of just like a preview of what that about me is. A resume is in here, the coursework / like learning, campus life events that might be like projects, some of the research, and then a reflection. In this other example, you'll see similar pieces like an about me, international experience, campus engagement, and more. So you really create the platform the way that you want. You organize it, you add pictures, and you create your own tabs and organize pieces of information in each of these tabs. So now I'm going to jump on and show you all what some of these examples actually look like when you go through each of the profiles. So let me go ahead and click on this one. Okay, so I think you're still seeing my screen. Okay, yes. So this more in depth, right? This is what someone included, a quote, their contact information, if people want to send a message. There are other social media platforms in here, like you can incorporate LinkedIn as well in here. And about me, this might be a little bit more in depth. A resume, so you can click on either or CV. This looks like it could be part of like a project, like highlighting some projects that they've worked on that they want other folks to learn a little bit more about. And so they're kind of going through a little bit of that. Campus life events, things that they're engaged with, research. So kind of highlighting a little bit more of those projects, but through the research, and some reflection. So this is a little bit about their own reflections on their growth themselves. I want to jump on this other example and explore this. So this is like a very different platform as well. So similar to the other one in about me, you'll see folks incorporate like quotes, personal, it's kind of like a personal statement / about me. In this involvement area, you'll see kind of those different things and options that you'll see. Relevant coursework, awards, reflection, content. Okay. So that's a little of kind of like what those Wix examples look like. I also want to pull in a LinkedIn. Just a fair warning, this is my personal profile. It has not been updated in a while. A little hypocritical of me to be talking about eportfolios when I have not updated my own personal account. So I apologize, bear with me. So it's very similar in terms of, if you're familiar with like social media platforms, it looks like a profile. It has my information of like, maybe like a quote. It has like an about me. This is like what I see because I'm the owner of this profile. You incorporate your experiences. So like whatever you have in a resume, you basically incorporate all those details in here. We talk about education, some skills, and then you also have connections with folks. So when you go to your home, you have people that you connect with on here. So you see each other's like different new positions. You get a highlight when you are transitioning from one position to another. People will see that. People will also post the work that they're doing. So people want to share maybe an article within the fields that you are in. So it's kind of like a feed of information, right? So someone here is posting like a position. You have a ton of networks in here, and you want to connect these networks and be connected to folks who could connect you to other resources, other networks. And so you're building like a virtual network. And here you can send messages to folks. People can send messages to you. Employers can seek you out if they type in here, like they're looking for a specific skill. If you have that on your profile, people can find you. And so there's a lot of different things and functions that come with LinkedIn. In terms of how people organize those artifacts that you saw in Wix, like a resume and about me, that's kind of where this is a little bit more tricky. And you kind of have to organize it a little more in the profile with the options that it gives you. And so if you're looking to edit, you'll want to just really be aware of where to organize that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So let me go back to the presentation. So those are some examples of what an ePortfolio can look like. And again, we want to give you all the option of choosing between the Wix platform and LinkedIn. And so what are the portfolio artifacts? So when I keep talking about artifacts, I'm talking about like the things that we want you to all to incorporate as a minimum with your e-portfolios. And so we really want folks to have an updated resume. So we are asking students to schedule a virtual resume review appointment with the Career Center and get that uploaded on the Wix or LinkedIn. We want folks to highlight projects as well. It can be 1 or 2 projects. It can be like an assignment that you worked on in a class or a project that you engaged with and took a lead on in a student organization, a volunteer experience that you led. And this is really to highlight your competencies and how they play out with an actual project. And I'll talk about competencies here in a little bit. We'll basically just want you all to name name what it was and include a short description and anything that would be helpful for someone who doesn't know what that project was to learn a little bit about why is that important in the work that you're doing and what takeaways you have from that experience. We want you all to also create an about me, like a personal statement. You saw in the Wix profiles that people created like a 1-page, maybe even like a paragraph. And so we really just want you all to do a reflective, like 1-page, like a personal statement, including your values. And values are important because we want you to feel connected to the values, and those are important in the workplace. And so we want you to reflect on what are some of your values, whether they're connected to your field or just personal values on how you navigate the world. And then we want you all to also include your competencies. And so we are utilizing the Career Center competencies to analyze and reflect your level of experience with each one. I will have all those documents sent to you all. The competencies document outlines general competencies that are important for all students to grow in and that are applicable and transferable to any position. So whether that's like working in a team, communication, leadership, things like that. And then when completing those competencies, you're connecting your experience to each of those. And then also looking at which are some of the competencies that you want to really work on and improve on. And so we want you to reflect on those pieces as well, like how you plan to grow in that area. What are some goals to help you reach those competencies? So these are the minimum, right? If there are other things that you want to highlight in your profile, that's totally up to you. We very much feel like these are very important aspects of artifacts that can be utilized and transferred into any of the goals that students have after graduation, whether it's graduate school, whether it's a career or applying for a position, even if you're taking a gap year, right? Like having all this information fresh and when you graduate, and for you all to continue updating this information when you are taking different transitional steps, having this information at hand is very important, especially if you're constantly updating it. And so what's the timeline that we're asking folks to engage with these artifacts? And so this is the order that we're asking folks to complete these pieces, and we did this intentionally. We want folks to do an updated resume. We know that things might change by the end of the semester, but what you have for now would be fine by February 23rd. Competencies will be important to recognize before reflecting a little bit about yourself. I think these competencies will help folks talk a little bit more about themselves and about me. So we'll have that due March 16th. The About Me personal statement is going to be due March 30th. Projects, highlighting those projects is going to be April 8th, and then finalizing the portfolio by April 20th. And so the way that folks complete this is by having this information on their website. And the way that we're going to track that is that I'm going to have access to everyone's platform. So whether it's Wix or LinkedIn, we just want to make sure that we're getting you support as you navigate completing these pieces. And the way to do that is that if we have access to that platform. So what are some resources that we want you all to know about in terms of how you all are engaging in this portfolio is that we're going to hold, well, I am going to hold drop-ins every week, at least one drop-in a week. You'll see that there are some weeks that I'll do 2. These are not required but encouraged for you all to utilize. If you are using LinkedIn and you are struggling and how to figure out where to upload your projects, where to highlight that on your LinkedIn profile, like that's what that's for. So we can walk through showing you where to upload it. If you're having a hard time with Wix, we want you to utilize those as needed. I am also hoping that the next 2 meetings that I have with these folks, since these are folks that I'm working with in my caseload, is that for the next 2 meetings that we have for our one-on-ones that they're an hour, for that first half focusing on things that you need for student success, and then the last half really looking at your ePortfolio and seeing how that's going. We also want you all to use the Career Center. We talked about students setting up a resume appointment for feedback. That's going to be really important. We just want students to use the Career Center resources because a lot of their resources are really targeted for things that we are doing with our Thrive-Grad students. And so we'll also send you all those that competencies document. We are also creating a portfolio semester at a glance and then a guide. The semester at a glance is a calendar with all the deadlines. It'll include the deadlines that I mentioned earlier for all the artifacts. And it also includes the drop-in schedules that I will have for you all. So it's like a quick visual to see all those things in one semester. The guide is going to show students how to complete each artifact and will also be shared with students. So just how I mentioned before, this is where you can highlight and how to highlight your projects. These are some resources that we want you to check out. I'll put some links in that guide of examples of other portfolios, just so that you're not trying to figure it all out on your own. The next piece that I didn't include in the timeline, but I definitely want to talk about is like feedback from you all at the end of the semester. You all are engaging in this pilot with us, and we're really appreciative of that. And we really want to hear your feedback and really hear like what you all would recommend, how your experience was by the end of the semester. So we are asking all of our pilot participants to share their experience, reflections, and feedback with other Thrive-Grad students and AAC staff to help us improve. And this is going to be through a Thrive-Grad seminar presentation at the end of the semester. Hopefully sometime early May, but we'll chat a little bit more later on about when that date will be according to everyone's availability. So don't worry about that for now, but just know that this is going to be a crucial component of the pilot at the end of the semester. So I know that was a lot of information, but hopefully this provides a little bit more clarification on why we want to do this pilot and give you all some excitement on like creatively creating this pilot, this ePortfolio and this pilot with us. And so we're really excited for you all to be here. And this is going to be a really fun opportunity. And so we want you all to really let us know. And when I say us, I really mean like me, like let me know if you have any questions. So please email me. This video is going to be sent to everyone who's doing the pilot. And I will go ahead and also send the semester at a glance that I mentioned and the guide with all the resources that were included in this presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and email that. So keep an eye out on that email and please, please, please email me with any questions that you have. Thank you.